We are going to go and use Geogebra. You can see how it's spelled, Geogebra. It's a combination of geometry and algebra. And you'll get to this landing page and you're going to start the calculator. And you've got this lovely screen landing page. Now the cool thing is we can do a number of different things on Geogebra. And while you can clearly see a graphing page here, which we will use, on the drop-down menu in the middle of the top toolbar there, you want to go to Geometry. Now the geometry is great. It opens up the basic geometry package on the left and it gives you a nice clean piece of paper to do your drawing on. So today we're going to be looking at circles. Now you can clearly see the first thing we're going to use. Click on the circle with center. Just click once. Now you can see it's highlighted in bold, so that's the tool you're working with. Usually you'll want to be working with the tool you want to work with, and if you're not working with the tool, best to go back to the arrow. Okay, so click on the circle. Now click once and then drag open and click twice. Right, now can you see I've finished drawing my circle now, so you can see circle is still here. I'm going to go back to my little arrow. Now this lets me then move things around. Now let's just grab the edge of the circle. Can you see we can move the circle around? Now what happens if we grab some of the other parts? Let's grab point B. Okay, so point B makes the circle bigger and smaller, which is good. Grabbing the edge moves the circle around. What happens if we grab the middle? Okay, so if we grab the middle, point B stays in place, right? And A is making the center go to a different place, but it's also making the circle bigger or smaller. Okay, so it's important that you understand how GeoGebra works. Grab the edge of the circle, the whole thing moves. Grab B, the circle gets bigger and smaller but stays in the same place. And grab A, B stays in place and the circle kind of just gets bigger and smaller and moves around. Fantastic. So now some definitions. So some definitions are all the way around the edge of a circle. Usually we call it the perimeter. To walk around the edge of a shape is the perimeter. But for a circle, it has a special word. It's circumference. Now I wonder if I can write on here. I'm not sure that I can just write some free text. Oh, I can. Let's see, text. Let's see if I can write on here. Circumference equals perimeter of circle. Let's see if that'll go in. There we go. So we've got some definitions here, right? So that's start at B, walk all the way around the edge and finish at B. That's the circumference. All right. Now another one we have is we have radius, and that's equal distance from the center to any point on the circumference. All right, so there you go, there's a radius. I'm just going to move the circle down a bit. Notice I try to move the circle like this, and why is it not moving? Because I've got the text tool on. So go back to the move tool, and now I can grab things and move it around. I can grab the text and move it around as well to make it nice there. Fabulous. So let's go and construct. Now construct is a mathematical word that means it's not just draw. Draw sounds like you're just doing it by hand and it's not very accurate. Construct means you're fixing it into the circle. So we're going to construct. Okay, now, oh look, there's construct. Construct here. So this is when you play with the circle, but actually moving down here, I'm actually going to do a construct a line. The first thing I'm going to choose is a segment. If I click on here, click on A. Now click on to any point on the circumference, but not B. Remember, B changes the size of the circle. So stick it onto another point. Can you see that C seems to lock in place on the circumference? Go back up to the move. Now grab C. Oh, it's pretty cool, right? And you can actually animate points as well. Should we see if we can animate? Is it on here? Did I get that wrong? Oh, it looks like I might not be able to animate. Maybe that's an extra feature that's not on here. If you find it, we could have this moving around the circle, which should be pretty cool. So there you go. There is the radius, right? There's the radius. Now, let us go and measure some distances. Are you ready? So there's a measurement tool here, and there's a measurement of a distance. So if I want to measure a distance, I can do it in two ways. I can just go point at the thing I want to measure the length of. So if I click and point on the circumference, magic. Circumference of C equals 18.5. That's pretty good, right? The circumference, the distance all the way around is 18.5. Now, 18.5, I don't know if it's centimetres or inches, it's certainly not metres. It's just the units that are built into GeoGebra, so 18.5. So from B all the way around to B is 18.5. Let's just go and move that into a spot maybe to the side here. Oh, can you see I'm trying to move it, but it won't move away from the circumference, right? So it tags circumference and it keeps the answer close to what it's measuring. So that's cool. Now let's go and measure the radius. So go back to measure, distance or length, and you can actually click on the little line itself, or I like to say I want to measure from point A out to point C, and there you go, there's the radius, AC equals 3. Go and grab the move. There we go. Nice. All right. Now, if I try and move AC anywhere, look, it won't let me move it beyond this little bit here. Fantastic. Go back to the move. Now, let's grab point C and move it all the way around. Of course, look, AC is not changing distance, right? AC is definitely 3. It's fixed in length. Yep. Now, let's make the circle bigger. Now, it makes sense, doesn't it, that the radius gets bigger as you make the circle bigger. And the circumference is obviously getting greater as well. And that all makes beautiful, perfect sense. Yep. So, what to do next? Well, actually, I want to introduce you to another term. Let me grab and move the circle down a little bit more. And I'm going to grab the text tool here. And I'm going to click in space. And I'm going to write diameter, and that equals 2 times radius. Okay, but more importantly, the diameter equals distance from one point on the circumference to another point that has to pass through the center. Okay, so just get that over there. Beautiful. Now, so this could be from, oh, it's still got my text on, right? So let's go back up to the move. Now if I grab C and drag it around a little bit, beautiful. So the diameter is from C to A and then carry on in a straight line all the way through to a point over the other side. Now I am going to draw on a diameter. The way I'm going to do it is a little bit complicated, but this method will help with lots of other geometry stuff that you might do. So go down to the line section, and I'm actually going to choose, can you see this little ray? Now that's going to be pretty cool. So the ray is going to start in one place, and then, can you see, it's going to go all the way in one direction. So I'll click the first point on C. Now I'm going to click the second point on A. I'm going to keep the ray going all the way to the other side. Now let's go back to our move. And now as I move things around, this all stays beautifully in place, right? It's nice. I can move C around and that will move around as well. So I've kind of like built on the diameter as double the radius gone all the way through. But I just want to see from C through A to maybe a point here, maybe D, and I want just this line to appear. I want to delete all of this, okay? The problem is if I delete all of this, it will delete all the way back down to C. So we are going to draw on one more segment, and here we're going to go from C all the way through to this point here. Now we want to know, has this point here, D, automatically locked into the right place? Well, let's see. Click. If I grab point D, look, we can't move it. But now if I move point C, that's beautiful, right? So that point D locked in just to the right place. Then the final thing I'm going to do is, I'd love to just hide this piece here. And I can do that. If I just go to the hide show, which is on the edit, show hide label, that would be getting rid of the C, the A, the D and the B. Show hide object. So show hide object and then click on the outside part of the ray. And then go back to the move. Beautiful. Yeah. And you can also go show hide object again, and it will show you everything that you've hidden. Okay, click back on it. So show hide object, click on this little section here, and it disappears. Back to the arrow, always default back to the arrow, and look at that. Let's move C. So there we go, we have a diameter, right? There's the diameter. Notice we've still got the AC is 3.4, there's the radius. And finally, let's go and measure now. Let's go measure our distance length, and let's go measure our diameter from D all the way through to C. And there's our diameter. Back to the move. And can you see? DC is 6.8, which makes sense because we know that the diameter all the way through DC is twice the distance of the radius AC. Fantastic. Right, so the next steps are we are going to take the diameter measurement and we are going to take the circumference measurement and we are going to think about the connection between these numbers. All right. So the final thing I'm going to do on this page is I'm going to go to the show hide object again. And I'm going to go and hide this guy here, the AC. Go back to my arrow. All right. And then I am going to measure one more time. Let's have a look. Anything that disappears, just go and measure it again. The distance from here to here. There we go. And I think I'm ready. Yeah. Back to the move. Now remember, B changes the size, and that's going to be helpful for us. So there we go. We're now ready to do the next little bit of our calculations.